The small-town girl who taught a grown man a lesson. She came from a forgotten southern town. No Wi-Fi, no malls, just dust roads and Sunday casseroles. Her name was Ellie Carter, and she wore a hand-sewn denim dress to school on her first day. They laughed, they whispered, they tried to break her with ketchup stains and cruel rumours. But Ellie didn't break. She stood, not with fists, but with silence, dignity, and a story they weren't ready to hear. What started as bullying turned into a viral moment, one that uncovered her father's hidden past, challenged powerful voices and placed Ellie on a national stage. Now she faces a choice: stay quiet and protect her peace, or speak up and risk everything. Title: The Girl in the Denim Dress. Chapter 1. The New Girl from Nowhere. The morning bell rang across the campus of Wilmore High School, just outside of Dallas, Texas. Students in designer jackets and Nike sneakers poured through the gates, laughing, shouting, recording TikToks. Business as usual. And then she walked in. Ellie Carter, 16, was not from around here. She wasn't from Austin or even suburban Texas. She was from a forgotten corner of South Carolina, a tiny town with one gas station, no Starbucks, and neighbors who all knew your dog's name. Ellie wore a faded denim dress, her hair braided neatly down her back, and sturdy work boots that had seen more dust than concrete. Instead of a sleek backpack, she carried a handmade cloth tote stitched by her mom. Her lunch was wrapped in a brown paper bag. Someone near the lockers whispered, "What is this, Farmville?" From the second-floor balcony, Madison Grant, queen of the juniors, scoffed to her clique. "Looks like Little House on the Prairie just enrolled." Laughter rippled through the hallway. Ellie heard every word, but she didn't flinch. She just kept walking. In AP English, the teacher asked about To Kill a Mockingbird. No one raised their hand except Ellie. Her voice was calm but confident. She spoke about justice, courage, and the danger of staying silent. The room was quiet when she finished. A few students exchanged surprised glances. The teacher gave a rare nod of approval. Still, no one talked to her. Lunch was worse. Ellie sat on the far edge of the courtyard, unwrapping her peanut butter and banana sandwich. She had chips and one of her mom's homemade oatmeal cookies. She had just taken a bite when a ketchup packet exploded across her dress. Laughter again. Madison stood a few feet away, phone in hand. "What's that smell? Did she pack the barn too?" No one stepped in. Ellie looked down, took a deep breath, and quietly began to clean up. She didn't cry, but she did reach into her pocket and touch the edge of a worn note her mom had tucked in that morning. "Ellie, remember, you don't have to be loud to be strong. Just be you. Always." That night, she hand-washed her dress in the dorm sink. She didn't tell anyone. The next day was Cultural Expression Week, a school-wide celebration where students wore clothes representing their heritage. Madison wore the newest Korean streetwear collab, lips glossed, crowd following her like paparazzi. Ellie walked in wearing a simple white cotton dress, hand-stitched with Appalachian embroidery. Her grandmother had made it years ago. She sat alone at her table. Again. Madison didn't stay away for long. "Is that your church outfit, or are you auditioning for Country Idol?" Then she snatched Ellie's lunch, ham and tomato sandwich, pickles on the side, and held it up like it was radioactive. "This smells like the inside of a gas station." And just like that, she squeezed it, dripping mustard and meat across Ellie's dress. Gasps echoed through the courtyard. Phones went up. Ellie stood slowly, not angry, but steady. She looked Madison in the eye. "Enough! You crossed the line today." Then, without raising her voice, without swinging her fist, she slid one foot back and dropped into a karate-ready stance. Madison froze. Ellie didn't move. "Where I'm from, we don't fight to show off, but we sure know how to stand our ground." Nobody laughed. Not this time. Someone recorded it. "Country girl goes full karate at school lunch table." The video hit TikTok that night. By the next morning, everyone knew Ellie Carter's name. Chapter 2. The Price of Going Viral. By the time Ellie walked into school the next morning, her name was already trending. Farm girl flips the script. Karate in cowboy boots? Southern charm meets savage calm. The video of her standing her ground, calm, composed, fearless, had racked up over 400,000 views on TikTok overnight. Her denim dress, soaked in mustard, had become a meme. Some called her a hero, others a threat. Ellie wasn't chasing attention. She never had been. But attention had found her, and it came with a price. She walked through the hallways with her head high, but the air was different now. Tighter, colder, more eyes, fewer smiles. When she reached her locker, someone had taped a note to it, scrawled in red marker, "Stay in your pasture, farm freak." Inside, her locker smelled rancid. Someone had spilled sour milk and tuna all over her books. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just started wiping everything down with paper towels from the girls' bathroom. As she was drying her soaked notebook pages, a voice spoke behind her. "You don't deserve that." It was Valentina Cruz, a soft-spoken girl from Arizona who usually kept to herself. She handed Ellie a handful of dry tissues. "You were brave, but are you sure you want to keep pushing back? People here don't forget." Ellie looked at her, then back at her ruined math notes. "I'm not pushing. I'm just tired of bowing my head." Lunchtime came. Ellie sat in the same far-off corner of the cafeteria. This time no one sat near her. 2 girls from the cheer team got up and moved when she walked past. Everyone had seen the video. Everyone had opinions. Some whispered about her karate stance. "She's dangerous." Some spread rumors. She probably grew up fighting raccoons. A few even claimed she was a plant from some secret program sent to stir up trouble. It all sounded ridiculous. But in a school where rumors spread faster than fire, logic didn't matter. That day, Ellie didn't bring a sandwich. She ate saltine crackers and an apple. Safer, less smell, less attention. Still, she could feel the glances like arrows. That evening, after lights out in the dorm, Ellie opened her laptop to check her school email. There was a new message. Anonymous sender. Subject line, "You think you're a hero?" The message was just one sentence. "Maybe it's time someone reminds you where you come from." Attached was a photo, a blurry screenshot from an old online news article. Her dad's mugshot, taken years ago, when he was arrested during a protest at a chemical plant. She froze. It was public record, but almost no one at her new school knew. Even she didn't know all the details. Her mom had only said, "He did what he thought was right." That doesn't always sit well with the people in charge. Now someone was using it against her. The next morning, she was called into the school counselor's office. Mr. Hendricks, who had barely acknowledged her until now, folded his hands on the desk and spoke slowly. "Ellie, we've received a couple of concerns. Some parents are uneasy about recent events, and now with certain personal history coming to light, well, we just want to make sure you're okay, that the school is a safe space for everyone." She clenched her fists under the desk. "I haven't hurt anyone." "No, of course not. But you know how things can escalate. We're considering hosting a disciplinary review panel. Nothing decided yet. You'll have the chance to speak." Ellie didn't say a word. She left the office with her jaw tight, her eyes forward. Back in class, someone had written in red pen on her desk, "Not everyone with a soft voice has a soft past." Valentina handed her another note, folded twice. "If you wear that dress again to the hearing, it might not end well. People here don't like being reminded they're not the only ones with a story." That night, Ellie stood in front of the mirror, holding up the now clean denim dress. The mustard stains were gone, but she could still see them in her mind. She folded it carefully and placed it back in her drawer. Not because she was giving up, because she knew that dress still had a job to do. But its moment would come when the time was right. Friday came with too much sunlight, too much noise. Wilmore High was buzzing with banners and booths. The annual Culture and Identity Showcase was in full swing. Students from every background had set up displays, Korean food stalls, West African drumming, French crepe stations, Indian henna booths. Flags waved, music pulsed from Bluetooth speakers. In the middle of the courtyard, a banner read, "Where you're from matters. Be proud. Be you." Ellie stood at the edge of it all, arms crossed, dressed in plain jeans and a hoodie. Her name wasn't on any sign-up sheet. The Southern USA booth sat empty. No one had asked her to represent anything. They only knew she was the girl with the dress and the kick and the father with the past. She turned to leave. That's when she heard it. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next speaker to the mic." She froze. "Representing the American South, Ellie Carter." She whipped around. Valentina, standing beside the AV table, gave a faint nod. "I signed you up," she whispered. "You deserve this." Ellie's stomach dropped. For a second her body said no, but something deeper said go. She walked to the center stage slowly. Whispers swept through the crowd like wind. That's her. She's the karate girl. Didn't her dad get arrested? Is she going to cry or kick someone? Ellie stepped up to the mic. She wore no makeup. Her voice didn't boom. But when she spoke, the courtyard leaned in. My name's Ellie Carter. I'm from a place most of you have probably never heard of. Dirt roads, front porches, church potlucks, and more cows than cars. The crowd chuckled softly. Where I'm from, we wear dresses sewn by our moms. We pack lunch in brown paper bags. And sometimes people laugh at that. She paused, her gaze steady now. But I've learned something since coming here. Just because someone talks quieter, eats different food, or wears something old, doesn't make them less. It just makes them real. Some students looked down. Others watched her more closely now. The day I got ketchup thrown on me, I could have walked away, but I didn't, because I realized if I don't stand up, someone else like me won't either. She pulled something from her tote bag. The crowd hushed. It was the denim dress, folded, pressed, clean. She held it up, both hands. This isn't just a dress, it's where I'm from, and I don't wear it to be loud or to rebel. I wear it to remind myself that I belong, even if I don't look like you, talk like you, or spend like you. Silence. And then applause. Not all at once, but growing. From the back, then forward. A few students stood up. Valentina wiped her eyes. Even Madison at the edge of the crowd didn't smirk. For once she looked uncertain. That afternoon, Ellie received an email. Subject, board hearing rescheduled. The message was short. Due to recent student leadership and community response, the disciplinary panel has been cancelled. Instead, we are inviting Ellie Carter to speak at the upcoming Student Leadership Conference on Cultural Courage. Ellie stared at the screen. It wasn't just over. It had transformed. That evening, in her dorm room, Ellie took out her notebook and wrote one sentence. If speaking quietly still shakes the walls, maybe I was never small. Ellie didn't expect the email. Not after everything that had happened. Not after the cancelled hearing and the unexpected applause. She had finally breathed easier for maybe 2 days. Then it came. From lillian.branch@freedomarchive.org. Subject, your father's story isn't over. Attached was a PDF file labelled Incident Report 2014 Westbridge Chemical Plant Protest. Her hands trembled as she opened it. She had grown up knowing only scraps of her father's past. He stood up for what he believed in, her mom always said. Not everyone liked that. But now she was seeing it with her own eyes. He hadn't just been arrested for trespassing. He had been part of a whistleblower group that uncovered illegal dumping in the town's water supply, dumping that made dozens of people sick, including kids. Her father had testified against the plant, but the plant had power, lawyers, connections. They smeared him in the press, painted him as a reckless agitator, and ensured his name was buried under headlines of violent protests, even though he'd never lifted a hand. The charges were dropped 2 years later. Quietly. No apology. No restitution. Just silence. The woman who emailed her, Lillian Branch, was a journalist turned activist. She had spent the last decade helping families like Ellie's tell the truth when no one else would. They met on Zoom that weekend. Lillian was sharp-eyed, warm-voiced, and straight to the point. Ellie, the people who went after your dad still hold influence. They've tried to erase what happened, but now you've gone viral. You're a voice people are watching. Ellie frowned. You think they'll come after me? I don't think, Ellie. I know. 2 days later, the school's main office received a call. Someone claiming to be a state education consultant requested that Ellie be removed from the upcoming National Youth Culture Forum, citing instability in her background. The principal pushed back, but pressure was mounting. That night, Ellie got another message. No name, no address, just this. Speak, and your father's name will burn again. Stay silent, and maybe the noise dies down. She stared at her phone for a long time. The next day, Ellie found herself standing in the school library, sunlight filtering across the hardwood floor. Her denim dress was folded in her tote, clean, still waiting. She had a choice now. Speak on stage in New York City next month, and risk bringing her father's past back into the headlines. Or walk away quietly and let the buzz fade. Let the pressure pass. But she remembered her father's hands, scarred from years of work but always gentle. She remembered how he held her when she was 6 and scared of thunderstorms. "Don't be afraid of the sky, Ellie," he said. "It just gets loud when something strong is coming." She wrote back to Lillian that night, "Let them get loud. I won't be quiet." Then she sent one more email to the forum's organisers. "I'm still in, and I want to talk about where I come from and what it taught me." Chapter 5. A Voice Made of Denim. The National Youth Culture Forum took place inside a soaring glass-walled hall at Columbia University in New York City. The banners read, "Our stories, our voices, our future." Dozens of student speakers from across the country milled about, each representing cultures, traditions, and causes. The audience included educators, journalists, non-profit leaders, and even state representatives. Ellie stood backstage, her fingers curled around the strap of her worn canvas tote. Inside it, the denim dress was neatly folded, washed and pressed for the last time. Back in Texas, rumors had swirled. Some said Ellie had been removed from the list. Others claimed she was being watched. A few students had even joked that she was now part of some conspiracy club. But Valentina had texted her the night before. "You wear that dress and speak. I'll be watching. So will half the school. Make 'em remember why they whispered in the first place." So here she was. A stage manager tapped her shoulder. "You're next." As she stepped forward, she passed a table of panelists, state board members, civil rights organisers, and Lillian Branch herself. Lillian smiled just slightly and nodded once. Ellie climbed the steps. The lights were blinding, but the silence in the hall was louder. She stepped to the mic and unfolded the denim dress in front of her, holding it with both hands like a flag. "I'm not here to perform. I'm not here because I won a contest. I'm here because I wore the wrong thing, said the wrong thing, and stood the wrong way." Laughter rippled softly. "I'm from a tiny town in South Carolina. I was raised on grit, Sunday sermons, and casseroles that could feed 12. I didn't grow up thinking I'd be on a stage like this, but sometimes life grabs your collar and says, 'Get up there anyway.'" She unfolded the dress and held it up. "This was my mama's dress, my grandma's before her. It's been stitched, patched, and soaked more times than I can count. It's not fancy, but neither is the truth." Silence. "A few months ago, I stood up to something that looked a lot like tradition, but felt a lot like cruelty. I didn't swing, I didn't yell, I just stood. And that moment, it was caught on camera. The world called it courage, but where I'm from, we just call it respect for yourself." Eyes from every row locked onto her. She paused, then pulled out one more item from the tote bag, a copy of her father's cleared court record with a red stamp at the top, "All charges dropped." "They said my dad was trouble. They were wrong. He was just early." That line landed like thunder in the quiet hall, and then a standing ovation. From the back row to the front, people rose. Some wiped tears, some clapped so hard their hands turned red. Even the panel stood. Backstage, Lillian whispered to a reporter, "That's not a speech. That's a reckoning in denim." Later that night, Ellie sat on the steps outside the venue, sneakers off, feet sore, dress folded on her lap. Her phone buzzed. A message from Madison Grant. "I watched it. You're braver than I ever was. Maybe next time, save me a seat?" Ellie smiled. She didn't reply. Not yet. She didn't need to. She looked up at the city lights and whispered to no one in particular, "I didn't come here to be famous. I just came to be heard." The end.